Hi, I'm Casey with Command Light, and today I'm going to be showing you how to upgrade your Quartz Halogen Night Series light tower with Helios LEDs. First, I'd like to talk about why you'd want to upgrade to LEDs on your Quartz Halogen tower. The main reasons are to increase the amount of light or lumens that your light tower produces. At 14,000 lumens, the Helios LED produces 3,000 more lumens than a standard 500 watt Quartz Halogen bulb. To create more usable light from your light tower and direct that light to the work area with the use of LED optics. To save both time and money from having to change bulbs. To decrease the amount of power required from your generator. 6 Helios LEDs reduce the required wattage from your generator from 3,300 watts to only 660 watts when you replace them on a tower with 6 500 watt Quartz Halogen lamps. Secondly, I'd like to talk about why you'd want to choose the Helios LED specifically. You can save up to 50% of the cost on an LED upgrade and up to 33% of the cost on a new light tower versus the leading LED brands. The Helios was designed specifically for LED upgrades. Its bolt-on design allows you to quickly change over Quartz Halogen lamps with the Helios LED. At only 60 watts, it's very efficient for the amount of light output it produces. And of course, the Helios LED comes with a lifetime warranty from Firetech. So when you get your LEDs from Command Light, just open the box up. They're all going to come individually boxed. Inside one of these boxes, you'll find the LED, but also the hardware kit. So in this hardware kit, you'll have all the hardware and the components needed for the upgrade, as well as you'll have an exploded view diagram that shows how all the parts go together, and a wiring schematic to show you how to wire your light tower up with your new LEDs. If you have an older tower, your LEDs will come with connectors, so they're easy to connect right onto your existing lamp tree. Next, I'd like to talk to you about what kind of tools you're going to need to do this upgrade. You're going to need a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. You're going to need a small flat-bladed screwdriver. I'm going to be using my electric screwdriver for this. You'll need some wire cutters, either a utility knife or cable strippers, wire strippers, a couple of 7/16 wrenches. You can also use a ratcheting wrench with a 7/16 socket. You'll need a 1/8 Allen tool and just some regular pliers. To get started, you'll want to get your light tower in a position where it's easy to work on. We're going to start by removing the 2 covers. If your light tower does not have covers, you will get a new upper cover in your kit. You will need to install the new cover. You'll need a number 25 drill bit and a 1024 tap to drill and tap the holes for the cover. So once we get our covers off, the next thing we're going to want to do is remove all of our lamp wires up here. At this point, you'll want to make sure that there is no power going to your tower, so there's no accidents with the electrical and this can't shock you as you're in there. So pull all the wires apart that are twisted together. And then we're ready to start removing all the lamps. Next step is to start removing your lamps. You'll want to start from the top and work down. Pull your wire out of the tower, leaving the grommet inside the lamp tree. Go ahead and take the other upper lamp off the same way we took the first one off. So before we can take the middle bank off, we'll have to remove the nest plunger. Next, we'll remove the middle bank lamps the same way. Next, we'll pull off the backlight lamps. If you don't have a backlight on your tower, the lower bank lamps will come off exactly the same as the upper and middle banks. I'll have to loosen the set screws. There's 2 set screws in each lamp. Once you get your backlight lamps off, if you have backlight on your light tower, you'll want to remove the set screws that came on your backlight brackets, as well as the piece of key stock on those backlight brackets. These parts will be needed on the Helios brackets. Take those over to our new Helios LED. It comes with identical brackets on it. Put the piece of key stock in the keyway. Make sure it's sitting in there nice and flat. And just run your set screws down a couple threads to get those ready to install onto the backlight shaft. First, we'll start with the upper right-hand LED. We have to install this new nest bracket for the LEDs. This is the only lamp that will take these flathead Phillips screws. Next, we'll install our top left-hand LED. This is going to be installed with hex head bolts instead of the flathead Phillips screws. So once we get our top bank of LEDs on, the next thing that we're going to do is run our wire in through our grommet and into the lamp tree. Right now, you'll just want to cut a little bit of this excess off so you don't have to pull all of that through. Just make sure you leave a little extra just in case. Don't cut it too short. And push that cable through the grommet, making sure not to pull the grommet out of the tree. Leave just a little loop of wire behind the LED. Just like that. Next, we'll install the middle bank LEDs. These will go on exactly the same way that the top left-hand side went on with the hex head bolts. These are 1/4 by 3/4 hex head bolts with 1/4-inch lock washers. The screws up in the top with the nest bracket are 1/4 by 1 inch. And those are Phillips flathead screws. Once you get your middle bank LEDs installed, once again, just see how much wire you need. Cut it. Make sure you've got some extra just in case. Don't cut it too short. And then route the wires in through your grommets. Next, we'll put the lower backlight lamps on. Make sure your piece of key stock is in the keyway there, and line that key up with the keyway on the backlight shaft. Then go ahead and just tighten your set screws. If you have a little blue Loctite, you can put some blue Loctite on these set screws, and that'll help hold those set screws in nice and tight so you won't have any wobble on your backlight lamps. Next step is to cut these wires and route these in. It's especially important on the backlight to make sure that these are long enough, and make sure that as your backlight rotates around, you have enough of a loop here to make up for that. So rotate your backlight around and just make sure that there's plenty of loop there. Make sure that those wires on your backlight are long enough. Once you've got all your LEDs installed, the first step in wiring is to wire the upper bank lamps. You can go ahead and trim these down a little bit at this point. I like to trim them about here. Just run them to about the bottom of where these DIN blocks are and strip them there, cut them there. And then either use a utility knife or some cable strippers and strip off this cable here. We just turned one of our Helios LEDs on. We brought in a light so you could see what we're doing here a little bit better. So first we're going to strip back both of our black wires here on our upper bank. Then we'll twist these wires together. And then these black wires will go into the top of the black DIN block. Tighten that down. Give those wires a pull and make sure they're tight in there. Next, we'll strip back our white wires. We'll twist those together. And these are the white wires from the upper bank lights. These will go into the top of the white DIN block. At this point, we'll just leave the green wires off to the side and we'll put those in at the very end. The next step is to do the middle bank lights. So they're about the right length. You could cut them maybe a little shorter. It's always great to leave a little extra just in case you have to come in and do any work on this wiring. You'll have a little extra wire to do what you need to do there. So we're gonna wire the middle bank the same way. I'm gonna go ahead and strip both my white and my black wires ahead of time before I route the wires up to the top of the DIN blocks. And again, we'll be tying our black wires together. These are our power wires. From the middle bank, our black wires go into the top of the red DIN block. Give them a tug, make sure they don't pop out. Then we'll twist our white wires together. These are our neutrals. From the middle bank, the white wires will go into the top of the gray DIN block. And once again, we'll leave our green wires for the very end. So next, we'll check the length on our backlight wires. They're also about right. I've got them cut to about the right length. We'll go ahead and strip those. We'll go ahead and strip back all of our black and white wires. Make sure as you're stripping these, you're stripping them long enough that when you twist them together, that they'll still be long enough for the DIN block to bite down on this wire. Route these wires up. Again, the blacks will go together. The black wires from the lower bank or the backlight bank will go into the top of the blue DIN block. Twist the white wires together. The white wires from the lower bank will go into the top of the yellow DIN block. Now that we've got all our wires up here, all these green wires, all the green wires from the left side we'll put together in the left green DIN block. All the green wires from the right side will go into the right green DIN block. You'll have to strip these a little bit longer than the other wires as we're twisting 3 wires together. So these left side greens will go into the left green DIN block. These are all the grounds for our LEDs. All the green wires from the right side LEDs will go into the right green DIN block. At this point, if you have a zip tie, you could zip tie all these wires up together and help keep that a little bit neater if you need to work on this. After we get the LEDs all wired in, the next step will be to replace this top cover here. In addition to the cover, we'll be adding this white nylon nest pad that comes with your Helios kit. This will line up exactly with the holes that are on this top cover. Make sure these screws are seated down nice and tight. Last step will be to add this nest plunger onto this nest bracket that we've just added. You'll have a 1/4-20 hex nut that will go on the back side. You'll want to run this nest plunger as far in as possible so it's actually nice and snug up against the front of this LED. And then you'll want to make sure this nut on the back is nice and tight so the nest plunger will not move. At this point, all your LEDs are on, your nest plunger is on, everything's wired, your covers are on, and we're ready to test the light tower and see how it works. Thanks for watching our video on how to upgrade your Night Series light tower to Helios LEDs. Again, this has been Casey with Command Light, and if you need any more information, give us a call or go to commandlight.com. Thanks.